Up next is our executive interview segment where we speak to Mr. Ron Mckay of the American Chamber of Commerce about the outlook for new foreign direct investment in Jamaica. Welcome to the executive interview segment of Financially Focused. This week we have a very special guest, Mr. Ron Mckay, the new president of the American Chamber of Commerce, or Amcham for short. Amcham's role in Jamaica focuses on investment and growth with the U.S. trading partners. And so Mr. Mckay is going to really take us through the idea of how Jamaica can grow its foreign direct investment and its profile as a place to do business. Welcome, Mr. Mckay.
Thank you, Denise, for having me.
Great. So the first question is a very basic one. What is the role of foreign direct investment, or FDI, in building any country?
I think it's very important, Denise, especially when you take into account here in Jamaica, especially that two of our fastest growing sectors is tourism, hospitality, and of course the ICT BPO sector, both of which rely heavily on driving growth from foreign direct investment. And that obviously leads to job growth, increase in the tax base, which then leads to an increase in the GDP. And the factor is that we have a fantastic base of foreign direct investment companies that have already been here for quite a while. It's not only about attracting new ones, but helping them also grow their existing businesses in order to help the bottom line in the economy and, more importantly, job growth.
Okay, so Ron, you talked about BPO, which is business processing outsourcing, the IT industry, a hospitality industry. Now, in your capacity as president of Amcham, can you give an outlook for 2015? Is there going to be an expansion in the major industries that are coming into Jamaica? Or, as you just said, will there be more help and more facilitation for the foreign companies that are already in Jamaica?
2015 not only is being projected as a very good year for growth, but also a year with a lot of new developments and new sense of working together, both the private and public sector, to take advantage of the growth sectors in ICT and also in the hospitality tourism industry. What we're doing at the American Chamber and Amjam, starting essentially at our big event this Thursday night, Beyond Our Borders, we're calling it, is to invite the assistance from the new Ambassador Moreno from the U.S., to help us in furthering the growth along in 2015. With help from the government and the public sector, is to help us move the growth further along. The growth outlook is very good, but we can make it absolutely exponentially grow at a much higher rate if we can work to create more efficiencies entering into the market for foreign companies, making it easier, simplifying the process from paperwork to a lot of other to registering, and also work again, as I mentioned, let's not to forget the companies that are already made the big investments here to help them grow even further. I couldn't tell you the exact numbers. I know that there has been some forecasts for the BPO ICT sector, and recently, obviously, the Ministry of Tourism has released some new job numbers. Yet, I always do say with both those accounts, because it's foreign investment, you need to narrow down on how many of those jobs are actually physically here on a day-to-day basis employing Jamaicans. And I think that's an important note to always look at when you're looking at the figures.
All right, so Ron, when we look at foreign direct investment, it tends to be big investments, big industrials coming into Jamaica, taking thousands of square foot of space or, building a huge property. There are a lot of small business owners, and they may also want a piece of the pie. So, any guidance, any ideas that you could share with the small business owner who also wants to benefit from foreign direct investment?
I think that's a point that is often forgotten, that there is an opportunity here for small business on the supply side to support these sectors. You have, for instance, at ADS Global, we have a security firm that we outsource contracts to. We have a cleaning service that we outsource contracts to. We have a food service that brings in food. And that's just the beginning. You think of all the different areas that support the hotel industry, tourism industry, BPO and ICT, and that it can be grown in lots and lots of area. As we grow, we need to incorporate those small businesses into the growth plan so that, again, you're having an impact on the bottom line in the country. For instance, when it comes to the hospitality and tourism sector, we need to include the agricultural base all the way down to the small farmer so that they're producing products that the hotels need. When it comes to the BPO and ICT sector, we need to work with the local contractors and developers in order to build facilities. That creates jobs, that creates subcontractors from electricians to carpenters and so on. It then gets into different areas where we could create and develop and build our own furniture for these centers and hotels here versus importing a lot of this product. And that's where I think small business can really have an impact.
There is this concept in Jamaica that we should educate for export. Get our people ready and then help them to go abroad to earn. So, in your position as president of Amcham, what are your views on this? And do you see this as having any trickle down or bring back effect to the Jamaican economy? So when I travel abroad, I may send a little bit of remittance, but I don't know. People think it's not more than that. But what are your views on that?
Denise, this question or conversation topic is it's a passion of mine. It's a very, very integral part of my new presidency at the American Chamber, but it's been an integral part of both my life here in Jamaica over the last 6 to 8 years, and also something that ADS Global, our company, takes a very strong look at constantly. And that is, we should not be, as a country, in the business of educating our youth in order to be positioned to leave as an export. We should give hope that they can stay here and create a career and a livelihood for themselves. And I'll give you a perfect example. I go to speak to schools in the Montego Bay area, one in particular, Supreme Prep, every year, the day before GSATs. And here you have 11-year-olds that are talking and asking me questions about the United States of America. And so they're already thinking the day before the GSAT, well, we could do well in this GSAT, then I could go to further education, and someday I can leave Jamaica and go on to the United States or somewhere else, UK or Canada. And we have to reverse that trend. We have to get into a vocational education initiative